Hi, this is Stephanie, and welcome to the wonderful world of Adventures in Odyssey podcast. Join your host Charles today and co-host Bree as we interview two special guests from Odyssey and learn a lot about their experience and adventures in Odyssey.
And we have Don and Genesis Long with us today. And
Yeah,
why don't you tell us a little bit of what you did on Adventures in Odyssey?
why don't you go first?
Okay. I played Lucy, Lucy Cunningham Schultz. Pretty much I think that's the only character I played. So,
And I played Jack Davis a lot, the kid Jack, not the adult Jack, if you remember some of those old first shows, and then a variety of other characters as well. But that was the main one, I think, in most of the shows.
Stephanie, what was your question that you wanted to ask them?
Okay, so when did you guys, I know you all started when you were really little. So once you got started and had been in a little bit, when did you realize that you were famous in the Odyssey community? When did you realize that all of us were like, yay, it's Jack and Lucy?
wow. I didn't really meet that many people who listened to it actually growing up. So it wasn't until we were much older and people started reaching out. I think once Facebook and then all of the social media things, and we started just having people reach out, and we're like, oh, a lot of people grew up listening to this. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I would say probably when we were adults is when we figured out that there was a meaningful group of people around the world that listened to Odyssey. So that was fun.
That is awesome.
Before you guys were joining, we listened to some Odyssey episodes.
Yeah, what ones did you listen to?
We listened to Cousin Albert and Live at the 25. And what other one was it, Bree? Or Stephanie?
It was it was the silver slapping
Was it?
Silver
the silver
Saddle.
spoon.
Yeah, Young Guns Bonanza.
Very cool. We got to do a lot of shows growing up, so I can't say that we remember every single show. There's a few that stand out, obviously, but we got to do a lot of them. And I think the most fun part was was it 5 or 7 of us who were children that started the very first group of actors. It was you, me, Dave Griffin, Sage, Rob, Azure. That's 5, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there were 2 more that I can't recall that were part of the original group of kid actors on the show, and so that was a lot of fun. There were a few times we took pictures together, and then you'd go into the studio and they, focus on the family, have those pictures up on the wall. So it was neat being a part of that and then kind of growing up together.
Have you took your kids to Wits End yet?
No.
We were there.
Yes.
I can't remember if our 2 oldest were with us or not on that trip.
No, that was for the 10th anniversary.
Okay,
The 10th
so that was just
anniversary, I
us.
think we went and saw it. But no, we haven't been to Colorado Springs.
You were in BTV Live, right?
What's that?
BTV Live?
Yes, I think we were on that one.
When Connie was introducing all the characters?
I think so. I remember something with that one
I don't remember. Sorry. It was a while ago.
Do you have any favorite episodes that you can recall that you were in?
Do you have one?
I feel like when I thought back on it, the history ones were a lot of my favorites. The one with Horatio T. Spafford, not Independence Day, but there was one about the Star Spangled Banner. I really enjoyed those. I liked the ones where all the kids were in the studio. There was some, I think they might be called Camp Bloodnut. There were some episodes where all the kids were together, and that was really fun. Yeah, they were all fun. They were all fun.
I think for me, the one that stands out is the day Independence came. It was a 4th of July episode, and Focus brought in a lot of adult actors for that show. And recording it in the studio was just so much fun because there were people all around. It was a full studio. So kind of like what you said about when everybody's in the studio
Yeah.
together. That made it a lot of fun because sometimes you're recording some parts and you're in a room by yourself or a box by yourself or whatever. But most of the time you had 1 or 2 other people in the studio. But when it was full, like 8 to 10 people, everybody sitting around in a circle reading through script. That was a lot of fun. And the day Independence came was that way. That was a really enjoyable show for me.
I loved the Blackbird series too. That was a fun one. Probably for the same reasons. Lots of really great actors.
Yeah,
know.
you did a lot in those, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I got to work with a lot of really new people.
Yeah, it was like the whole series that you were in.
Mm-hmm.
Don, were you in any of the Blackbird Chronicles or any series like that?
I don't know that I was. I can't remember being in those with you. I would honestly have to look that up to try to remember what ones we were in. I think I mostly did. They wrote Jack and Lucy together quite a bit at the beginning. And then I think by the time you recorded the Blackbird series, I think you were being written into some scripts by yourself.
And I think maybe your voice had changed, and so he was playing more characters,
Random stuff.
Like I don't even know what the episode is called, but he was a prince, it was a Bible story, and he was a prince.
That's right.
Do you know what that one was?
I was. There was one I was a prince in. There was one about the whole body, the different parts of the
we were both
body.
in that one.
Oh, the young boy who didn't go to church.
Yes, I was in that one.
And then Erwin Springer,
That was the day Independence
okay.
came.
You did that character. You did a few more. You did a few different characters.
You were way late in the Windy City.
Yes, that was the one I'm talking about, right?
Okay, I don't remember.
It was hot.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
Heatwave.
Okay.
That one was called Heatwave.
That one was a fun one, Heatwave.
Heatwave was awesome.
I liked that.
Stephanie, you have a whole list of questions written down.
I did, and then I got starstruck when they got on, and I was like, "Bitty, bitty, bitty, bitty."
Yeah.
I know you were Hope also on the where they redid Pilgrim's Progress Revisited.
Pilgrim's
Yes,
Progress.
but I think I was Lucy in that. It shifted to different, almost.
Yeah.
I remember. So I think I was always Lucy, but yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one time I think I did something different.
Yeah.
Before Odyssey, did you guys star in any other acting roles?
No, I would say, we knew each other before Odyssey, and we were at church together. And Focus on the Family had their headquarters near where our church was before it moved to Colorado. And so we had the opportunity and knew some people that worked there, and we had the opportunity to audition. So I wouldn't say we had done anything meaningful outside of little tiny things that are just normal for kids to do at church or whatever.
Our church did a lot of, we did spring and Christmas, musicals. And so we were doing 2 of those every year. And that was it was a highlight. We loved acting in those. So I think that's why someone in the church was like, hey, you guys should go down. Because they were just Adventures
open
in Odyssey.
auditions,
Yeah,
right?
it was open auditions, and it was brand new, and they were trying to find kid actors. And so we went down with 10 kids, and I remember reading Rumor Has It was the script that we read from. And so when they called us back, and then we went together that day, and they called just the 2 of us back, and it was for that script. So that was really fun.
That's cool.
How old were you when you auditioned?
We were 12.
Was it 12?
Yeah,
Okay.
7th grade maybe.
Okay.
long time ago.
Yeah,
Or-
wow, that's a long,
She has a better memory.
but it was a lot of fun.
She has a better memory than you
I
do.
also like
Yes, she does.
I like the conscious crossing.
So my adventures in Odyssey.
Oh, I already said it.
Why?
You're good,
What?
Stephanie.
Go ahead, Charles.
I was just gonna say I liked you in the conscious crossing guard too when you were Tenure High in this gang.
There's another
That's
one.
right. Yeah, I remember that.
I'm a fan of Bernard Lawton and the Tenure High gang and the Hoe Crossing Guard scenario where it was awesome.
That was a fun show. I liked some of the ones where we got to play quirky characters like that. Whether it was the Heat Wave with the New York kind of private investigator accent, or Tenure Hyde, or the Prince one, where one of them I was Hassan Ben Sober or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that one too.
I think that might have been the Prince one. I can't remember. Some of the names stick with me.
Yes.
A lot of times going into the studio, after Focus moved to Colorado, they would still record back in Los Angeles. And in Burbank, there's a studio there that we did a lot of the recording in. Before that, all the recording was at their headquarters in Pomona. And we would come in cold to the script. Nobody had sent us the script in advance or anything. And that was actually a lot of fun because sometimes we would be seeing where the show goes as we're acting it out, right? And so that was neat. I think the only one that I got the script in advance for was The Day Independence Came, because there were a lot of professional actors that they used in that one. I think they wanted to make sure that I was ready. So they sent me the script early, and they're like, "Hey, read through this, be ready."
You also
I also like
you
Brad.
also played in Have You No Selperks too.
Okay, I
Did you?
know. I don't know. I know the title of that one, but I don't remember the show.
Okay.
It's Scruples spelled backwards.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. What was the storyline of that one?
Went set up a game that had right or wrong choices in it, because you always made the right choices.
Okay. So he wasn't in that one.
That was probably you.
No, I think yeah.
She did about twice as many shows as I did. Probably because she acts very well, but her voice didn't change either,
Yeah,
right?
I think it was my
So
voice.
my voice started changing, and the writers went, "Uh-oh, no problem."
Got a problem. Kind of like Dave Griffin's voice.
So I, yeah.
Yeah,
But I love
his
I
voice
love his
changed too.
voice though now. Very nice.
The kids radio episode too that they did was pretty good. I liked it where they had I think you were Brad Dillard.
Yes, I did that one. That's
I love
right.
that one.
A lot of characters.
In kids
bringing back
radio,
memories.
and I was frustrated that I couldn't find anything good on the radio, and decided to start my own radio show,
Yes.
or my own radio. I think it was a radio broadcasting station or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but I was doing something with that one. Yeah,
Yep.
that was fun.
Which was the worst day at the studio, would you say? Like, really frustrating day?
I don't feel like I remember ever having a frustrating day.
They always took really good care of us. They took good care of the kids, and I remember. So Hal Smith was the original Mr. Whitaker, and he was very grandfatherly in the studio, even personally, right, off mic and all that. And he was always very helpful in a very calm, kind of encouraging way. He was always very helpful with advice, right? And so here I am, I'm 12, 13, 14, 15, however old I was, depending on what the show was, and trying to act, learning things, whatever. And he's a professional, right? He was so unbelievably good. And he would always, just in a very smooth and soft and thoughtful way, deliver little bits of advice. You know, do this when you're saying that line, or try this and see if it works for you. And I always had a lot of respect for him, because he was just always so gentle with his advice.
It was just so fun to be there watching them all, you know, just be themselves, you know, be funny and be themselves, and even off camera, just joking around with each other. It was always something I looked forward to when we'd get the call, hey, can you come on this day and record? And just so it's exciting.
I remember one time there was, I think it was at the studios in Burbank, there was a lounge area when you're not recording. You could go out, you know, if you're waiting for your lines or whatever, you have to go just hang out for 30 minutes and wait for the studio, you know, the other people recording their lines or whatever. And off the side of that, everybody was, all the adult actors were so talented, right? So that was fun to be around them. And right off the side of that was a little bathroom that was right there. And there was the door, it was not very private as far as sound goes, right? And I remember somebody going into the bathroom and making a comment about, like, I'm going to be in here, y'all make some noise. And everybody in the room, there were probably 10 of us in the room, started singing, right? And it was neat because it was completely spontaneous, but all of a sudden in about 10 seconds there's all the parts and harmony parts and melody parts, and it sounded so just, it was just tremendous being there. And you realize, you're like, wow, you're around some talented people in this room, as everybody sing and act and everything. It was fun. That was a lot of fun.
And Lucy was also in Scattered Seeds.
I remember that title. I don't remember the show.
I know the
Scattered
title,
Seeds,
so
yeah.
you have to give me a little bit.
It was a play that was depicted out of a Bible story. Yeah.
Parable? Was the parable? Okay. Don't remember a lot about that one.
Connie was trying to write a play, and she used the parable of the sower and the
It's been a
seeds.
while.
Yeah, I can't remember the storyline in that one either. But it makes sense if it's the parable.
I think
Yeah.
The sower and the seeds.
one of your classics, I think, is Connie Goes to Camp, where Connie had to send you home.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah, I feel like that was right after the Camp Wetterneck, kind of.
Yes.
At
Yep.
the same time. Those were really fun.
Yeah.
And Katie Lee was always there. Like,
Right.
Connie was in every episode pretty much. So saw a lot of her. It was fun.
Yeah, we got to see a lot of Hal and Connie, which is Katie,
And Will.
and
Will's-
Chris, Will Ryan, a lot of Will Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we worked a bunch with them, so that was a blast. They're just such they're written in a lot of their parts. They're written, and their personality in real life is very sweet as well. They were just fun people to be with.
Do you still keep in contact with some of those people?
A little bit on Facebook, not like calling all the time or hanging out. We live in Texas now, and a lot of them are scattered all around. But you know, we've messaged or instant messaged Katie a couple times, or been on something with her. Phil Lawler, we could reach out to him anytime. Yeah, mostly those two, I think. We've bumped into Chris Anthony on a couple things online as well, so we keep up a little bit, loosely.
Stephanie met Chris Anthony.
She's sweet.
She is so sweet. I got to go to one grand party, and I got to meet her there.
Mm-hmm. The one grand party.
That's great.
When was that? That was.
The
How long
first-
ago was that?
It was the first weekend in August, I believe.
This year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
So it took me 35 years, but I finally got to meet some people. I was like, yay!
That's awesome.
And you got to do her intro too, Chris's intro.
Oh, good. By accident, happen chance, they were coming through the parking lot to the meet and greet as I was leaving to catch my plane at the airport. And so, of course, you know me, Jason was with them, and I was like, fangirl. I was like, Chris, Jason. And then I was like, will you please do the Adventures in Odyssey episode with me so that my inner child can be happy? And she was like, yes. So my cousin videotaped us going, hi, this is Chris, and on today's Adventures in Odyssey.
Oh, that's awesome.
She was so sweet to do it. I feel like most fans, or, you know, like most movie stars would have been like, well, maybe another time. And she was all like, sure, come here.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great. She's great. A lot of fun to be around and really loves people.
And kids. She loves kids too.
Yes, she does.
So I want to hear a little bit about y'all's engagement story. How did you all get together? Like, I know y'all worked together as children, and now I know you went to the same church. So how did that? Tell us more about that.
Yeah. Well, we started going to church together in like second grade, and back then, I don't know how it is today, but I know
There's a fly
I
that's
keep
right around
swatting at his nose. I have plants in
I don't
here,
think
and
they can see it,
they need some.
but I can see it too.
And so we were 7 or 8, and he gave me he had a friend give me a little note asking me, would I be his girlfriend? Check yes or no. And so I said yes, and from then on, like, I knew I wanted to marry him from the time I was 7 or 8. So, when we were about 15, I think, right before he got his license, we started dating, and we got married at 18. So I just knew he was the one. So.
And a fun story, a lot of the writers, producers came to our wedding because it was local to where everybody was. And their wedding gift to us was every Adventures in Odyssey album made to that point.
Oh, wow.
We had a big box and wrapped it up, and that was our wedding present from the Adventures in Odyssey team.
It was cassette tapes at that time.
Yeah, it was still the big albums that opened up with 6 cassette tapes. Yeah. And so they had a box of every one of those that they gave us.
I had these.
There you go,
Yes,
just like that one.
Yes.
Just like that.
Now we have all the CDs. I traded them out, and
Yes.
we have all the CDs up to 50. And actually, our 13-year-old son is listening, going through them
Yeah, the
right
kids
now
listen to them.
for the first time. It's funny because they never really got into them where they listened over and over, but throughout the years they pulled them out. Well, he's got them out right now, and he's going through them all. I think he's up to 20 something, the album. And
That
so
is
I told him, if you finish, maybe we'll start buying the newer ones, because we haven't heard the newer ones after the last episode we did. We just haven't bought.
What was the last one we did? Was it the live one in Colorado?
No, it was the Triangle Web. Is that what it's called? The Triangle Web. It's the one where we get engaged. That was our last one.
Was that after the live show or before?
Oh, right before, like the year before.
Oh, okay.
It was all you boys trying to impress Lucy.
Okay.
I think because throughout the years, it started with Jack, and then he kind of disappeared, and then it was Kurt, and then Jimmy was never. It was never that throughout the show. I think he just threw him in there. So yeah, just close out the story.
I wish they would have done more with you guys in it. Because it felt like it was short.
fun.
Yeah, we enjoyed it.
So did you guys have like a big wedding, or was it like a small wedding?
Go ahead.
No, you.
I think by today's standards, it was at our church, but I think by today's standards, it was probably a sizable wedding. A lot of our church came to it, and we both come from large families, so there was plenty of family members to, fill the auditorium while we were there, and it was good. It was different. Our wedding, a lot of times now when people get married, and maybe it was that way back then, we didn't know, we were only 18, we were just getting married. But a lot of times, it's a full sit-down meal, and they do dinner and dancing and all this kind of thing. And we literally got married, cut a cake, took some pictures, and we were out. That was it. There was no hanging around for anything else. And so I don't know if that was abnormal at the time. I know it's a little different now, for sure. But so even if it was a larger wedding, it was very short. I bet guests were there for an hour and a half, maybe. And that was it.
So they didn't get to see your epic dance moves, Don?
No, I don't have any of those. That's one thing I'm definitely not good at. I was doing some kind of line dancing at one point, and Jenny came up to me after and she said, you probably shouldn't dance. And I took that as my cue that probably that's not in something that's in my skill set. I just need to leave that one for other people.
So he embarrassed you, basically.
Don't be alone. I can't dance either.
I don't know what happened to Bree, but she never came back.
Oh, she's still there. She just has her camera turned off.
So how do you guys know each other? I'm curious how you guys know each other and where you're from.
Stephanie, you want to go first?
Sure. So I'm from Kentucky, and I met him through the podcast and the website and the fan base.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I messaged you first.
Yes, you did.
And then she was on board. She's like, yes, I love Odyssey. Let's do it.
Like, who doesn't want to talk about Odyssey for days?
And we have another guy, Chris, but with his work schedule, he wasn't able to be on.
And what about Bree? How are y'all connected with
So I started a podcast about Odyssey way back when you guys were still on the show. And I didn't really want to do it because I was the only one doing it by myself. And so it fell by the wayside, so I started it back up a couple weeks ago. Or months ago. And it was just me and Bree at first. Then we had another guy, but he left for family, Thanksgiving. And so we were like, we need like another person. So I reached out to Stephanie, and she was totally on board.
That is awesome.
Are you from Kentucky?
I am from Helena, Montana.
Montana.
And then where's Bree from?
West Virginia? Did she say?
Bree! Pennsylvania.
All right. And how have you guys been listening to Odyssey from the very beginning, way back when, or I don't know how old everybody is. You don't have to tell me either. But have you been listening from Because what was it? It would have been 35, 38 years old when the show started, right? Does that make sense?
7?
Yeah. I don't know when the show started, but it would have been back then.
87.
Yeah.
Yeah. It started in 87 is when the show started.
That was the first few shows that we were part of. So. Wow, 87.
I started when I was like 10, when I first got introduced through my church. So it'd have been like 25 years ago.
I got introduced at church camp.
Okay.
Very cool.
We also...
Now I take you guys with me everywhere and quote you all the time.
Yes. Oh, you should read your Thanksgiving poem.
Oh, yes. Oh,
I'd love to hear
did I take it back in the house? I'll have to run in and get it because I took it back in the house. And I don't think I have it memorized. It was from BTB Thanks, where he does the Bullwinkle voice, and he's like, Thanksgiving Day at last, when we mere mortals break our fast, and all of us, both great and least, sit down before a bountiful feast. But I had it. I just quoted it on the podcast, and I took it back in the house, so I don't have the full thing. And I need to work on my Bullwinkle impression. But if you would like, I will go get the whole thing and read it for you.
Well, we'd love to hear it if you want to, but don't feel obligated.
Well, you all talk amongst yourselves. I'll run in and get it, and hopefully my kids won't be too loud. I'll be right back.
Yeah, we also, our first interview on the podcast ever was Dave Griffin.
Oh, very cool.
And then we moved on to Daniel Roth, who runs the Adventures in Odyssey fan club page. And then we moved on to Phil Lawler and Marshall Younger.
Great. Yeah, when we were doing a lot of our shows, most of them were written by Phil or Paul McCusker. And Marshall, towards the end of us doing some of our recordings, Marshall started writing. But we remember him sort of being there learning or in training, or he would be in the studio kind of being around Phil and Paul McCusker and
He was younger.
Chuck Bolte. He was young.
It's hard to remember because we were still kind of.
Yeah.
But he worked there.
He seemed
Yeah.
younger than.
But he's written a lot of shows now.
I think he's written almost every single show.
Mm.
All right, you guys having fun?
Not a lot of fun.
No. How is it? I don't want to interrupt, which I'll do.
You have a poem for us, Stephanie?
I do. Have you been sitting there waiting the whole time? I'm so sorry.
No. We've been talking.
Okay, good. All right, and it's not my poem. I'm sure like Phil Lawler or someone at Focus wrote this. I did not write this. This is part of an Odyssey adventure at some point.
Oh.
It says, Thanksgiving Day at last, when we mere mortals break our fast, and all of us, both great and least, sit down before a bountiful feast. We lift our prayers to God on high, then stuff ourselves with pumpkin pie, cranberry sauce and candied yams, homemade rolls and turkey gams, beans of green and stringed in navy, turkey breasts and cornbread dressing all get munched after the blessing, till it comes out our ears, our eyes, our nose, our pores, and through our tears. We eat a lot, and then some more, while keeping one foot on the floor. We eat until we're all done in, and then sit down and start again. Thanksgiving Day, ah, what a treat, to eat and eat and eat and eat. And I'm pretty sure Eugene did that one. So it's kind of my Will tribute since he's been gone. As every Thanksgiving I break this out, and all my friends and family are like, oh no, here comes the poem.
Speaking of, how was your guys' Thanksgiving?
That's good.
We had a really good Thanksgiving. Yeah, we got to be here with family, and then the last 3, maybe 4 years, we've started a Thanksgiving tradition that is a bike ride. We have some great trails near where we live, and so a group of us go on a bike ride, and I guess that's to work off some of the Thanksgiving meal. I don't know, but we enjoy the bike ride, and we had some beautiful weather yesterday for the bike ride, so it was a lot of fun.
That is awesome.
Jenny made a giant Thanksgiving meal. We had turkey and stuffing and potatoes and everything.
Yeah, it's
All of
funny
it.
because all my kids like different parts of it, so I keep saying, let's just make it a little more simple. And then they're like, well, aren't you making this? And aren't you making this? And so, yeah, it gets to be more food. It's just too much food. But yeah,
It was delicious.
it was good. I just started a couple days early and got some of the things so I can just plan it all out, stick it in the oven at different times. But yeah, it was fun.
And I got to have a key lime pie, which is my favorite.
I did not make that.
Bree, do you have any questions?
What advice would you give to kids that are wanting to get into something like what you guys have done?
As far as getting into it from an acting standpoint, like they want to be voiceover actors, is that what you mean? Is Bree able to hear me? I'll repeat that. Do you mean what advice we would have for somebody who's a child that wants to get into voiceover work?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know that we're qualified to answer that because I feel like it was just, something that was put in our laps almost, an experience that God just kind of lined everything up and an opportunity God gave us. So we're not really in the acting realm. We never got an agent. I think now you get an agent and you go to different auditions, and we never did any of that. So I don't know that we have advice in that area. It was just a fun opportunity that God gave us.
Any other questions, Bree, that you have? I know you're writing questions down for them.
Yes, I did, but that was you guys asked the previous ones that I had. So great minds think alike.
Yeah, we feed off each other's energy on this podcast.
I will
think
say
it's
that
great.
my son, one of his favorite kids characters is Jack Davis, and then one of my daughters is Lucy.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
it's I'm raising them on. I grew up listening to Adventures in Odyssey, and I have them listening to Adventures in Odyssey. So I'm raising them on it.
There's so many good character lessons, especially, I mean, in all of them, but in the early ones, I feel like it was always, Wit really just talking things through with the kids about, morality and just such good lessons. So I think it's great for kids. I'm excited my son is listening to them right now.
Like, as we speak, he's listening to them.
He might be. I don't know.
He might. He goes into his room. I'm like, what are you doing in there? I'm listening to Odyssey. I'm like, oh, great, good. That's a good choice.
Do they recognize your guys' voices?
I think so. Sometimes they come and ask, is this you, Mom? Or,
We've told them who we played primarily on the show.
yeah,
I think they just enjoy the stories.
yeah. Yeah, it's funny. They don't really care. They don't care that
We're just mom and
we're
dad.
just Mom and
you know?
Dad. Not exciting.
Now, do you guys listen to some of them and think I could have acted differently?
Done better? Yes, for sure. Yeah, especially the early ones. Maybe we're a little excited, but
Yeah, well, you guys know probably from doing the podcast too. When you listen back, do you ever listen back to your own voice and you're going like, "Oh no, oh, not that," or maybe you're not that way. I don't know, but I was definitely that way. Listening to the recordings, even after all the great editing work, I would kind of beat myself up a little bit about doing something a certain way.
You guys shouldn't, because you did
over
great.
time we learned from the other actors, like settle down, feel the script instead of just getting your line out. And they're so good, it's not hard. The writing is so good, and the other actors are so good, it was easy.
So, the triangled web, was that your
That's the one.
only Imagination Station episode that you guys were in together? Besides Dawn's Early Light?
Oh, we've done Imagination Station episode. No, we did one where we went back. Oh, there's been multiple. You've done multiple ones. I've done some Imagination Station ones.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
I was trying to remember if you were both in Adventures in Bethany or if it was just Lucy. I couldn't remember.
I think that might have been just her.
Heard Wit.
Just
I
her.
don't
Okay.
remember either.
I feel like I need to go back and listen to everything.
Yeah, I can't recall the Imagination Station ones off the top of my head, but I feel like Jack went back in an Imagination Station episode when he was young. At least one, I think. But don't quote me on that.
We'll let you know.
I'm like, it's not like we're asking you about things that happened 20 years ago or more.
I was going to say it's hard to remember back then.
For sure.
I can barely remember yesterday, let alone back then.
I'll hit you up, Jenny, when we find those episodes of the Imagination Station.
Yeah, I don't know how many. I mean, I remember quite a few. I need more to jog my memory.
I thought there was one where we were back together
I feel like I was always
with
keeping you out of
Was it
trouble.
Elijah? Was Elijah 1 and 2? Were we in that one? I think we were both in that one.
Yes.
How do you remember that?
I don't know. I
think
can
you were both
picture
in
the
that one.
cassette tape in my head with the typing on the front.
Elijah
I
wanted.
think it was Elijah 1 and 2. If those were, I don't know. You guys can check me on that, and if I'm wrong, you can post a a correction to your channel.
Now, are you guys doing anything exciting in life that you want to share with us?
Well, we have 5 kids. The oldest one's married, and the youngest ones are still in middle school. I serve as one of the pastors at my church, and so we're very plugged in there in a variety of ways. And the church is growing, so there's always something new, some different hat to put on to fill a gap somewhere until you find the right people to do it. So that's a lot that's going on right now. And then I think we're always doing some kind of remodeling work on the house. I, before working at the church, worked as a home builder for a lot of years, and I still enjoy that on my own home. So today, after the podcast, I'm going to be laying some tile in the house back that way, and we're both excited to see progress made in that. I don't know about too much more exciting than that.
No, just raising kids still.
Lots of kids.
We have a big gap between our first 2, and our youngest 3 are adopted, and so they're right now 14, 13, and 12. So we're in that era right now with those kiddos, and yeah, just busy with that in church. Lots of church stuff going on. We have just a lot going on there.
So,
That'll keep you busy.
Say that again.
Jen, you're not working anywhere?
Nope, I haven't since I had kids. I haven't been working.
She's got a full-time job as a stay-at-home mom. Yes. There's more work than people realize.
Well, do we have any more questions, or do you have questions for us?
I think it's great what you guys are doing, digging into the individuals that help make the show go, and we are honored and thankful that you would have invited us onto your podcast today.
And don't forget, now that you're on it, you can also listen to it.
Absolutely.
We are honored that you came on and spent time with us today. Thank you so much. Y'all are making my childhood dream come true.
Taking time away from your kids and you doing this with us, it is a real treat.
Thank you for inviting.
And maybe we could have you on again in the future.
That'd be fun. I think the show is pretty awesome, and it was a real blessing to be a part of it, for sure.
I would say back when I was a kid, Lucy was my kid crush.
I think we've heard that once or
I
twice.
think people either hated her or loved her. She was kind of a goody two-shoes.
But that was my kid crush back then.
There you go.
We weren't going to tell anybody that until we had you guys on the show.
We've been teasing it all week. We're like, Charlie's
There
kid
you
crush
go.
will be on. Because we knew nobody guessed it. We were like, put this in the comments.
So, no one has any last parting words?
I think I've got all my questions answered. I appreciate you spending time
Thank
with
you
us so
again.
much.
We appreciate getting to talk with each of you and to meet you over video here, and wish you all the best with your podcast, and keep listening.
Yeah, keep listening. Bye.
Bye-bye.